So how can I start investing with a very low salary? I need to put in my phone charger. Suspense. Okay. How do I literally invest with a low salary? Like, what are my best options? What should I be focusing on? But then the first part of that question is, how do I take my low salary, live below my means enough to be able to have that excess income to invest, right? Do you see like the two different sides? So I'm going to talk about literally how to invest, but I will touch on here and there, like how to live below your means enough to actually make those investments, to actually be able to have enough extra money to invest at the end of the day. Okay, first tip is get rid of your mental block. So this is for everyone with investing, but there's a mental block that you can't invest unless you have tons of money, and that's just not true. I don't know why people think that. If you have $1, you can invest it. If you have $2, you can invest it. You don't need thousands of dollars to invest. All you need is one. So you need $1 and you just put it in your investment account and then you invest it. You don't need tons of money. You can put $1 a year if you want to. There's not many stocks you can buy with that, but we'll get to that later. Okay. So literally any money you have, investing is a great option. So living, of course, to get that money is the living below your means part, which is really important to focus on as well. But those are saving tips for another day. Today we'll focus on literally the investing part. So every single day you have $1 and you have a couple actions you can do with that dollar. You can spend $1 every day, save $1 every day, or invest $1 every day. $1, that's it. You got $1 a day, you could come up with that. Just like look for change on the streets, right? So $1 every day. If you spend $1 every single day for 60 years, I wanted to paint like the broad picture so you can really see the true like cumulative buildup of your actions. So if you spend $1 every day, you will have negative $21,900 at the end of 60 years. You will be in debt. Even on a daily basis, it doesn't feel like spending $1 is a big deal at all. Like $1, like who cares? It's a pack of gum, whatever. It's not that valuable, but it is valuable because at the end of 60 years, you'll be negative $20,000 in debt. Whereas if you save that dollar and in a high yield savings account, if you take that $1 and put it inside of a high yield savings account that earns 2% interest, so interest rates right now are a little bit below 2%, but for easy math, if you save in a high yield savings account and earn 2% interest on your $1 every day, you just take $1 and put it in your savings account. At the end of 60 years, you will have over $40,000. You'll have $41,000. So isn't that amazing that just $1 per day can add up to $40,000? And if you're wondering how much $1 a day is, it's about 21,900. Like that's how you get that number, So it's about $20,000 that amount of days, and your account would double that. So you're earning enough money where you'd have $41,000. And then if you took $1 every day and invested it, so this is the heart of the question, right? So if you had $1 every day and invested it, then you will end up with $1.1 million. I'm not kidding. At the end of 60 years, if you take $1 and then put it in the stock market every single day at a 10% interest rate, which is what the stock market has been on average for the past 100 years, you will end up with $1.1 million. So that's why it's a mental block that, oh, I can't invest on a low income, or, oh, my income's too low to invest. That's not true. If you have a low income, that's all the more reason to invest because the money's not coming in from you working. So you better make your money work for you. So the more reason to invest is if you have a lower income, so you don't have to struggle every single day and you can just wake up in retirement or like when you're old and then have $1.1 million because your dollars are working for you. And that's just $1 every single day. So imagine if you invested $2 every single day or $3 every single day. Imagine how much money you could have at the end. So investing $1 every single day is all you need to do. You don't need tons of money to make tons of money, really. That's the beauty of investing, and why I fell in love with it and why I really got into personal finance is because the growth of compound interest. As Albert Einstein himself says, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. So, okay, so you don't need much money. It's a mental block. You really don't. You can be a millionaire on $1 a day. Okay, so the second concept that I want to really instill in your brain is pay yourself first. So this might sound crazy. It's really easy to not pay yourself first, especially when you have a low income. And I struggled with this concept of pay yourself first. I read it in all these finance books. I heard these bloggers say it, and I just didn't get it. I'm like I think I first heard it in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book by Robert Kiyosaki, and I just didn't get it. I'm like, but how can you pay yourself first? Don't you have to pay the bills first? I'm not going to not pay my bills and just put money in my savings account. That made no sense to me. But as I've been living and doing it, I've really, really shifted my mindset to focus on earning. You'll see me post a lot about earning money, and some of the ways I earn money is through investments, but I focus a lot on earning, and it's because I pay myself first. So I think in my head, I'm paying myself the $1 a day, and I'll do the bills later. I'm more important than the bill collectors. When I worked at my full-time job, I had my direct deposits and investments all automated. So I had maxed out my 401k, maxed out my Roth IRA, put $550 every single month to my savings account. I put $150 to my honeymoon savings account. I put $470 to my bills account, and everything else went left over into my checkings account. And so into my checking account, my salary from my full-time job probably ended up being around $100. It really wasn't that much money. I wasn't rich, but I had the principle of I'm paying myself first. My investments, my retirement, my savings, my wedding, my honeymoon, and my bills, the bills was the last one. So all those things were very, very important to me. And I was putting all those in my direct deposit first, and then anything left over was something I could spend. And it turned out to be about $100 per paycheck. And if $100 per paycheck, if I wanted to buy something more expensive than that, I either had to wait until I built up enough $100 increments, or I had to make more money somehow. I feel like people always forget that part, that you can just earn more money. Earning money is unlimited. It's not easy, but it's not hard with the internet. I would just tell myself, okay, then I gotta book another client, or okay, then I better work really hard on my Amazon business, and I would work really hard to earn more money. So if I didn't have, I paid myself first. There's nothing that I wanted to buy that's more important than my retirement. There's nothing I wanted to buy that's more important than me investing my $1 a day so I can make 1.1 million in the future. That was everything to me. So if I wanted to buy something, then I either had to just save up the money or earn more money. And those are my only options. So by paying myself first, I told myself, these are my goals. These are my priorities. I'm doing that first. Everything else is second. And the third tip that I have for you is how to physically invest. So we're talking about the part, how to physically invest on a very low salary. The third thing is open the right types of accounts. I recommend a Roth IRA for sure. That's a retirement account. There's a lot of benefits to it. One of the best benefits is it's tax advantage, right? So if you have a low salary, every dollar really, really matters. Of course, no matter who you are, every dollar matters, but every dollar really, really matters when you have a low salary, right? So the last place you want your money to is going to fees or taxes. You want to keep as much of that dollar as you can. So I would really recommend opening a Roth IRA because it is a tax advantaged account. The other great thing about a Roth IRA is that you can actually take the money out of your account. So because it's already been taxed and you just put it in there, you can take that money out anytime you want. So if you're a college kid or a recent graduate, that's a great option because you may not know what you want to do in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. You may not know when you want the money. So it can be scary to dump a ton of money in something like a 401k, even though a 401k is a great option. But I know it can be scary to dump a ton of money into a 401k because you really can't access that money until you're 60 or 59 and a half without paying a 10% penalty. So that's not something people want to be doing, right? So a Roth IRA is a great option because you get the same tax advantage benefits, but you can actually pull the money out. And you can't get the growth. So if you put in $1 and it grows to $2, you can only pull out $1 without penalty. The $2, the other dollar that it grew, you can only pull that out with a 10% penalty. But that's okay because you wouldn't have had that money anyway, right? The other thing you would have done with your $1 is put it under your mattress or spend it, even worse. So having the ability to take out that money as a college student or as a person with low income when you don't know when you'll need that income is a really great benefit to a Roth IRA. And then also if you work at an employer who offers a 401k match, this is actually the very first thing I would do is check if your employer has a 401k match and put your money there first before the Roth IRA. Because if they have a company match, that's 100% return on your money, right? So if they have like a 3% match, that was what my company was, a 3% match, then every 3% of my salary I put in, I would automatically get 100% return on my money. It's like if you just hand someone $1 and they automatically gives you $2 back. Why wouldn't you max that out? Because they just give you all that money automatically. There's no other way to immediately get a 100% return on your money. So a company match is really one of the things I miss the most from my full-time job. But this is where it gets to my personal opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not licensed. This is just my general advice for you general people, from other advisors like Warren Buffett, who are literal billionaires. If you only have a low salary and you can only invest $1 a day or a small amount a day, it really, really matters what you invest in, right? You don't have as much disposable money to take risks on. And sometimes when people think of investing, they think of investing in companies like Amazon or Facebook or whatever, Tesla nowadays. And it's like, okay, but that's risky because all your eggs are in one basket. That company, even though Tesla seems so amazing and great, you never ever know if that company is going to crash. You never know. There's literally an unlimited amount of stories of people investing all their money in one company they think is going to do great, and then that company fails and then they lose all their money. I would suggest, if you have a low income, not to do that. Only invest in individual companies if you have extra money you can stand to lose. That is more similar to like gambling when you invest in individual companies. When you invest in the market itself, such as in an S&P 500 stock or a total market stock or whatever, if you have questions on that. So I know like that was one of the things that really confused me when I started investing, is I didn't understand all the terms. So if you have questions on that, please ask in the chat below or message me later. But investing in the stock market itself, investing in the market trends, is a much more sustainable way to make sure that your dollar grows. So even though you see companies in the news like Tesla tripling in value, right? Like, yeah, that's great. But the amount of companies that actually decline in value is like way more companies. And the market is a lot safer of a place because it's very likely that individual companies go under. That happens all the time. That's like a frequent occurrence, okay? Companies do bad sometimes. But the stock market itself is pretty consistent. And I know if you're watching this, the stock market has not done so hot the past couple weeks, but the trend over time, if you click on your iPhone, swipe to where the stock graph is and click like the 3-year mark, it just goes like this. It's a straight line up. You can't even see the dip from these past couple weeks, literally. Like, people get scared over nothing. So you're investing in this. So sure, one stock might triple in a day and then you hit the jackpot and congratulations. But when you're investing on a low salary, every dollar really, really matters. And can you afford to take that risk that that company might fail? Can you? No. You want every single investment to count. The 5th tip that I have for you guys is find investments on a low salary when you don't have so much money to spare. So if you go to VOO, like if you go to Vanguard's like S&P 500 index fund, okay, you will look at that page and be very confused and not understand what it says at all, but you'll see the number of how much one share of that stock costs. And nowadays, I don't know how much it costs nowadays, but it's like $250. So you might see that stock and be like, oh my God, I can't afford one share at $250. I only have $1. I want to invest $1 every day. I can't afford that. So one thing you might be tempted to do is get off that page and find a lower cost stock that only costs $50 a share or $30 a share. But I don't necessarily recommend doing that because the point isn't like, how much does the stock cost now? The point is, what's the investment going to be later? So do not buy stocks off of like sticker price alone. Don't say, oh, a $250 stock, I can't afford that, and then just buy a cheaper stock that ends up losing you money, right? I'm like, okay. I'm getting too crazy. Ask questions if you have any and if I'm confusing you. But okay, so you find your S&P 500 stock, you want to buy it, it's $250. Instead of finding a lower cost option, put money in a savings account or put money, so when you invest in stocks, when you put money in your brokerage account is what it's called, your dollars actually go first into a money market. So you don't just transfer dollars from your bank into the stock. Usually it goes from dollars in the bank to like holding area, and then you use that holding area to buy the stock. So in that holding area it's typically a money market, which is similar to a high yield savings account, which earns about 2% interest. So take your dollars from the bank and put them in the money market and just save up your $1 every day that you're saving until you hit 250, and then buy a share of the stock. Sometimes you can buy increments of the shares, but sometimes you can't. The last tip I have for you, you need to target funds that don't have many fees. And so I would really recommend looking at the expense ratio is one of the things. And if you've never heard of that, when you go to a stock ticker and you go to a stock page, there should be somewhere on the front page a thing that says expense ratio. And so under the expense ratio is a number, and you should avoid any funds with a fee higher than like 1%. Like literally do not buy any stocks with a fee higher than 1%. 1% is extremely high, and that is too much of your dollar going to expense ratio or to expenses and fees that don't have to, because you have such a limited amount if you have a low salary. So it's like you want to hold on to every dollar. So the lower the expense ratio is, the better, because you hold on to your money. So I typically target, I think, I don't even know how much the VOO stock has. I think it's like 0.03 or something like that. Like literally the expense ratio is very low, 0.03%. So that's a fee I'm comfortable with paying. 1%, way too high of a fee. That's 100 times more in fees. And that is not something you can afford to be doing if you're investing on a low salary. There's also like other fees, like some brokerage accounts have a fee for every time you buy stocks. So if you're buying a stock every single day, like my TD Ameritrade account, I think it's like $6 every action you take. So every time you buy a stock is $6. So it could make more sense to just save up your money and buy in one lump sum. But that is picky for now. The overall meaning is watch out for fees. Every piece of every dollar matters. Watch out for taxes, watch out for fees. Okay, so that is all. If you have questions, drop them below.